December 2025, a Harvard astronomer named Loeb got hundreds of emails from fans about a YouTube channel with his name, his face, and his voice, saying things he never said. He didn't make it. Someone used AI to clone his likeness and voice, and built a channel that looked exactly like a real scientist explaining real research. It wasn't a hoax anyone had to guess about. Loeb confirmed it directly and reported it to YouTube himself. That's not a hypothetical warning about the future. That already happened to a real, named scientist on the platform you're watching this video on. So here are 5 specific, checkable tests, not trust your gut, actual tests that would have caught it, and that catch most slop dressed up as science before it fools you. Most how to spot AI content videos give you advice you can't actually use. Count the fingers, look at the eyes, trust a feeling. That advice ages badly, because the fakes get better every few months. What doesn't age badly is a specific, repeatable test you can run yourself. 5 of them, each one proven necessary by a real case that already happened. This is the single most common tell right now, and it's not confined to sketchy corners of the internet, it's showing up inside peer-reviewed science itself. An analysis of 2.5 million scientific papers found roughly 146,900 fabricated AI-generated citations in 2025 alone. The rate has been climbing fast. In 2023, about 1 in every 2,828 papers contained a fabricated reference. By 2025, that had jumped to 1 in 458. In the first 7 weeks of 2026, it reached 1 in 277. This isn't limited to obscure journals. Either researchers found roughly 53 papers at the 2025 NeurIPS conference, about 1% of everything accepted, containing citations to sources that simply don't exist, with invented authors or fabricated titles that looked completely normal on the page. A sample of 2026 ICLR submissions found the same problem in 20% of papers checked. Here's why this fools people. These fabricated citations aren't obviously fake. They use real researcher names, plausible-sounding journals, correctly formatted years and volume numbers, everything except an actual paper behind them. The test is simple and takes under a minute. Take the exact title and journal, name a video or article quotes, and search for it directly. If it doesn't come up on the publisher's own site, or on Google Scholar, or in that journal's actual table of contents for that year, the citation is fabricated full stop, no exceptions, no benefit of the doubt. This is exactly what happened to Loeb. The fake channel used AI tools to clone both his face and his voice, and posted videos with titles like 3I Atlas is a probe, new data leaves no doubt, far more sensational than anything the real Loeb, who is actually fairly careful about hedging his claims, would say. The channel had accumulated over 1.4 million views before Loeb even found out about it, and even after he and his fans filed dozens of reports, YouTube didn't take it down. One giveaway, if you look closely. A background clock in one video stayed frozen on the same time, throughout a small rendering artifact of exactly the kind AI-generated video still frequently produces. The test here is straightforward, if slightly more work. Does the actual person have a verified channel, blog, or social account? And does that account confirm the video or claim? Loeb's real, verified Medium blog never made these claims. The fake channel existed entirely separately from anything he actually published. If a video claims to feature a named expert saying something dramatic, and you can't find that same claim anywhere the real person actually controls, treat it as unconfirmed until you do. There's a second, quieter part of this worth naming. The incentive doesn't even require the impersonator to believe anything they're saying. Loeb himself pointed out the 2 most likely motives: straightforward ad revenue from a channel riding his name recognition, since he has a real following of millions of readers, and, separately, deliberate misinformation dressed up as expert commentary. Either motive produces the exact same red flag, content that borrows a real person's credibility without any of that person's actual involvement, accountability, or willingness to stand behind the specific claim being made. Here's the part that's easy to miss. A lot of this isn't really about deception as an accident. It's a business model. In one widely reported case, the creator behind a now-defunct YouTube channel called True Crime Case Files admitted to a reporter that he generated video scripts, half with ChatGPT and half himself, with images from an AI generator he wouldn't name, and passed the results off as real stories, some with millions of views. He was explicit about the incentive. When he first disclosed that his videos were AI made, they got barely 100 views each. When he stopped disclosing it, the views became what he called a gold rush. The channel was only taken down after a journalist started asking his platform pointed questions about the missing disclosure. That's not a science channel specifically, but the underlying economics transfer directly, and outlets covering the platform have separately reported that entire categories of channels, narrated pseudo-history among them, have been flooding YouTube at a volume no individual, careful researcher narrator could plausibly sustain, uploading detailed, seemingly well-researched long-form videos on a daily or near-daily cadence, a pace that would require an actual production team for a channel doing real archival research. Journalists covering this trend have described the effect as an entire genre of Slop channels, quietly crowding out smaller creators doing the real, slower work of verifying sources by hand. The test: does a channel post at a pace that would require an actual team of expert researchers, fact-checkers, and narrators working full-time, and does it credit any of them by name? If the answer is impossibly fast and no, that volume is itself evidence, not just a stylistic quirk. A single careful person checking primary sources the way this channel does for every claim in every script simply cannot produce a new, fully researched deep dive every single day, and any channel claiming to is telling you something about its actual process, whether it says so directly or not. This one is worth knowing because the rules changed recently, and most viewers haven't caught up. As of 2026, YouTube requires creators to label content as AI-generated or AI-altered specifically when it could realistically fool a viewer's synthetic voices standing in for real people, fabricated footage of real events, photorealistic scenes, depicting real or realistic figures. Since May 2026, the platform has gone further. Automatic detection systems can flag and label certain kinds of synthetic media, even when the creator never disclosed it, and creators who consistently skip disclosure risk manual labeling, content removal, or suspension from the platform's monetization program. The test: if a video features what looks like a real, named scientist's voice or face or footage of a specific real event, check for a disclosure label. It's usually visible in the video description or as an on-screen note. Its total absence on content that looks synthetic or unusually polished in a specific way isn't neutral anymore. It's either an oversight the platform is now actively hunting down, or a deliberate choice to skip a rule that exists specifically to protect you. This last one isn't unique to AI, but AI-generated text is unusually good at producing it, because large language models are optimized to sound fluent and confident regardless of whether a specific fact is actually true. Watch for phrases like "studies show," "scientists agree," or "research proves" with nothing else attached, no researcher's name, no institution, no year, no journal. That phrasing isn't automatically a lie, but it's specifically the shape a fabricated or hallucinated claim takes on, because a real citation is exactly the kind of concrete detail that either exists and can be checked, or doesn't exist and gets left vague on purpose. The test: read or listen for that exact phrase, then ask what's left once you delete it. If a real name, a real year, and a real, findable place to check remain, the claim just passed a test most Slop quietly failed. If nothing concrete is left, that's not proof of AI involvement specifically, but it's proof the claim hasn't earned your trust yet, whoever or whatever wrote it. Notice what all 5 tests have in common. None of them ask you to trust a feeling about how something looks or sounds. Every single one gives you a specific action. Search the title, check the verified account, count the output volume, look for the label, strip the vague phrase that takes under a couple of minutes and produces a checkable answer. That's the actual difference between media literacy and a hunch. Here's the honest complication worth naming before this video ends. AI tools aren't the enemy here, and this channel uses some of them too, for research assistance, always disclosed, always independently verified before anything ships. The problem was never I touched this content. The problem is specifically undisclosed synthetic impersonation, fabricated citations passed off as real, and volume built on skipping the work a real fact check requires. Those are the 5 checkable things worth watching for, not the mere presence of a tool. It's worth being fair about the other side of this too. The term for all of this, slop, didn't exist in common usage even a few years ago. It started as an insult on a message board in 2022, aimed at early image generators producing melted, uncanny output, and only became a mainstream term once a wave of low-effort text and video, made cheaply and at scale, started actually flooding people's feeds. Usage of the phrase increased roughly 9-fold in 2025 compared to the year before, and it was chosen as a dictionary's word of the year for 2025, not because itself got worse, but because the volume of undisclosed, unverified, mass-produced content did. That timeline matters, because it means these 5 tests aren't reacting to a hypothetical future problem. They're reacting to something that has already, measurably, gotten worse over the past 2 years, which is exactly why a fixed look-for-weird-hands rule of thumb keeps failing while a checkable test doesn't. Loeb put it plainly after he found the channel wearing his face. The nemesis of science is fake content created by AI. He didn't say the nemesis of science is AI. He said fake content, specifically the kind built to look real without earning it. That distinction is the entire point of this video, and it's the same distinction this channel tries to hold to in every single script. Not no I, ever, but nothing ships without a name, a year, and a place you could go check it yourself. Which of these 5 red flags have you actually run into without knowing it had a name? Tell me, have you ever caught a fake citation or a cloned voice yourself? What tipped you off? If you want physics and science content that survives every one of these 5 tests, every time, that's what the Physics Storyteller exists to do. Subscribe to the Physics Story. Next time on the Physics Storyteller, we go back to real physics, why water does something almost nothing else does when it freezes. 5 tests, 5 real cases, 0 vibes. That's the difference between spotting slop and just hoping you would.